Oh, oh. Does he even get to eat it? Oh gosh. Oh goodness gracious. Hello fellow anime geeks and welcome to another first impression video. This time I tried Dorohedoro, which is technically a 2020 winter anime, but Netflix just released it for its US audience. As usual, I'll be answering these 4 questions to organize my thoughts and hopefully give you a little bit more information on the show. Dorohedoro's mouth tags were action, comedy, horror, magic, fantasy, and seinen. And I would say that it's a gory, dark fantasy. It is a fantasy, there is magic with set rules, but the art and the world depicted are so gritty and the fights are so gruesome that I felt like I was watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. One minute our heroes are slicing up bad guys and the next they're sitting down to eat gyoza. I personally wasn't really able to eat for a little while after this, and I think I'm usually okay with gore as long as it's contextually significant, like it is here in Dorohedoro, but I think the level was just beyond me. I haven't really read gruesome American comic books, but I can imagine that this manga must read a lot like these. But this gruesome world does set a unique tone for an equally unique premise. These magicians all have a certain affinity, and that just makes the fights more interesting and dynamic, and it also makes the character introductions more fun, if you can call it that. I'm always impressed by well-developed magical worlds with systems and rules, and Dorohedoro has 2. There's the world where the magicians live, and then there's the whole where they travel via portals in order to experiment on human beings. And this interesting premise makes an interesting landscape in turn because all of the experimented humans look very different. I also love that our protagonist is fighting these magicians for the express purpose of trying to find out more about his own experiment and the man that resides within, and the magicians themselves aren't a united front. This isn't a simple versus storyline. Some of their infighting was so cool, and some of our protagonists' fighting was so cruel that I was at points wondering who I should actually be rooting for. There are several reasons I think this anime is unique, and many of them come down to good storytelling. For example, every time a character was introduced, I felt like I had an instant understanding of their personality. And I love when the characters are written to be so vivid and so cool that no matter what kind of crazy they live in, the audience can instantly connect to them. The world is so well thought out that the exposition seeps through all of the regular and irregular interactions. We don't stop to overly narrate the setting or to manufacture an epic feeling by not telling the audience anything. And these are the 2 things I find most interesting: the world and the tone. This is a world with magic, but the landscape is post-apocalyptic. This magician group is going around experimenting on humans, but it's expected and accepted. Our protagonists just laugh at what a poor job one of these magicians did on one of his experiments, and then they discuss dinner plans over a surgery. This contrasting focus on the minutiae while all of these horrible, gruesome things are going on also kind of reminds me of a Tarantino work, and I also really enjoyed all of the allusions to pop culture, and some of them were pretty hilarious. For example, the single-breasted gown. But most affecting the tone is the art. It's almost as if the author went through different anime and manga time periods and mixed stuff together to create a really interesting, unique style. The textures look modern, but many of the faces are oversimplified and look like the late 20th century with simple eyes and chubby cheeks. And some of the backgrounds look like they're out of an early 2000s anime. So, keeping all of this in mind, do I think that this is a worthwhile anime? Yes, but not for me. Dorohedoro is just good storytelling and it's unique. It's also just plain cool. But I think my level of tolerance for gruesome stops at Drifters and Death Parade, another Dokyonin wa hiza. That last one's just a joke. But for all of y'all bad butts out there who can totally handle this and for whom this level of gruesome is absolutely nothing, I think you found yourself a cool new show, and I'll catch you in the next video. Oh.